Legmen would like to express our deepest gratitude to the management and staff of KNPB Channel 5 in Reno, and to remind our viewers to support your local public broadcasting stations. Welcome to Legmen, a show about a dedicated group of amputees who have built a business around empowering other amputees to reach their full potentials and to expect more from their prosthetic experience. Coming up on Legmen, we'll introduce you to Jake, and this guy will forever change your definition of an amputee. You see, Jake was a victim of frostbite while working as an engineer in Greenland. But you'll never hear Jake call himself a victim. It's just something that happened. Now it's time to move on. Jake's is a truly inspirational story, and you won't believe what he's up to now. And then you'll get to meet Bailey, an incredible little girl just 19 months old, and so filled with life in spite of being born with a condition where the limb does not fully develop. Her story will touch your heart as the family discovers for the very first time if Bailey will be able to walk on her own. Deborah not only walks, she rides horses, motorcycles, and enjoys a very active social life. She spent 7 years trying to save her leg until finally she had had enough. Good prosthetic care and determination allowed her to regain her life and to get back in the saddle again. Deborah is a wonderful example of what can be accomplished when the amputee and prosthetist work so closely together. And then there's Lynn. Imagine waking up in the hospital and discovering that all of your limbs have been amputated. Imagine the fear of not knowing if you'll ever walk or hold your child again. Well, that fear didn't stop Lynn, as you're about to discover. And it was Lynn herself that said, "I don't feel unfortunate that this happened. I just feel lucky to be alive." Her experience of walking was so incredible that we just had to share it with you. Nestled in the scenic foothills of the High Sierra Mountains is the World Famous Prosthetic Shop, where the Legmen custom fit and handcraft one-of-a-kind prostheses for their clients. The facility is state-of-the-art and provides the latest in cutting-edge technologies. And there's more. You'll meet our talented staff of amputees, beginning with Rick Riley, the founder and owner of Prosthetic Consulting Technologies and Amputee Prosthetics. Rick apprenticed at his prosthetist shop in Atlanta and became involved in disabled sports. In 1982, he became a certified prosthetist after training at Northwestern University in Chicago. Rick worked for various prosthetic facilities until moving to Nevada in 1989 and opening his own unique business. Rick married, started a family, and his business flourished. He sold his original business in 2000 and moved to Spain for a year, where he wrote his book, Living with a Below-the-Knee Amputation. He returned to Nevada and reopened his practice in 2006. He has pursued a unique vision where amputees create prosthetic solutions for other amputees. His focus on client-oriented care and motivation permits each amputee to achieve their greatest potential. Rick has never allowed amputation to slow him down. He has bicycled the Alps, climbed 2 14,000-foot mountains, and traveled the world. He also served 8 years on the U.S. Disabled Nordic Ski Team and represented the U.S. in 2 Olympics, 1 World Championship, and the Able-Bodied World Masters competition. Now he enjoys hiking, backpacking, kayaking, and snowshoeing out of his own backyard. Doug is a disabled Vietnam veteran who has been a leader in the disabled sports movement since 1970. Doug lost a leg in Vietnam and was awarded a Silver Star for bravery as well as a Purple Heart. He learned to ski on one leg in 1968 and won 3 national slalom championships, in addition to being one of the first amputees certified as a ski instructor by the Professional Ski Instructors of America in 1972. He was inducted into the Ski Hall of Fame in 1990 and the Disabled Ski Hall of Fame in 1997 for contributions in the development of adaptive skiing nationwide. In the 90s, he spearheaded the development of integrated water ski instruction programs in 24 cities across the nation. Elected to the Board of Directors of the U.S. Olympic Committee in 1998, he led a movement to integrate Paralympic athletes into the USOC's national governing bodies, served on the committee that created US Paralympics, and helped in an effort that led to the congressional change in the USOC's mission to include Paralympic sport. In September 2001, he was awarded California's highest honor, the Governor's Trophy. This award is given to a Californian with a disability for outstanding achievement in the world of work and significant contributions that increase public awareness of the experience of disability. Anthony is a board-certified prosthetist. He previously practiced in Central Kansas and completed his prosthetic residency in Detroit, Michigan. Anthony completed the prosthetic practitioner and prosthetic technician programs at Century College, White Bear Lake, Minnesota, and holds a BS degree in product design engineering technology. Anthony had previously worked as a design engineer and has witnessed firsthand the technological prosthetic advancements over the years. In 1987, working through college, an ugly industrial accident caused a short below left elbow degloving amputation. Anthony experienced his own trip into the abyss after losing his arm, and he knows firsthand what it is like to climb out of the hole to regain your purpose and dignity. A desire to make a positive difference in the lives of others drove him to make a career change to prosthetics. He is recreationally active and has won medals in the extremity games for those with limb loss and limb difference in mountain biking and BMX. From time to time, he shows up at work with scrapes down his shoulder from a bicycling header. His motto, above all, service before self. Chris has been an amputee since a motorcycle accident resulted in the loss of his right leg below the knee. Prior to losing his leg, he was one of the best football players ever to come out of Carson City, Nevada. The loss of his scholarship was difficult, but giving up was not in his vocabulary. He went on to become an emergency medical technician and legendary volunteer firefighter. He rode with a rough crowd and was known as a man not to mess with. Chris knew there was no future in that lifestyle and decided to learn the prosthetic trade. Over the past 20 years, he has lived and breathed prosthetics. His experience and insight allow him to see prosthetic solutions where others need to consult a book. If you can think of it, Chris can build it. He has 2 children, 2 grandchildren, and still loves to ride his Harley. Chris's license plate reads, All Out. Mark Combs is a Reno native who attended local schools and graduated from the University of Nevada with a degree in corporate finance. Mark began his career in banking, spending 8 years as a commercial loan officer with First National Bank of Nevada. In 1975, Mark started a real estate company with his wife Fiona and built the company to over 80 agents, selling the business in 1990 to his brother and sister-in-law. In 1995, Mark and his wife traveled to Africa for a camera safari, which was one of the high points of his life. Unfortunately, he became ill and upon returning to Reno, contracted pneumococcal sepsis, which eventually resulted in the loss of both legs below the knee. He then began his relationship with Rick, who visited him in the hospital and gave him hope that with the proper care he would again walk, which he did. He now works for Rick as a field representative, giving hope to the newly amputated client just as Rick did for him. Mark now says it is the most rewarding career of his life. In 2005, Dave joined the Amputee Club after a motorcycle accident resulted in a below-knee amputation of his left leg. He was 26 years old. Since then, with the help of his brother, David is back on 2 wheels riding his '79 chop bar hopper. David worked in the printing industry for 12 years before coming to amputee prosthetics. He enjoys raising his son, riding his bike, fishing, and shooting guns. David devotes his energy to making prostheses with the care of someone who wears one. He knows that the little things matter and assures that every step is completed with efficiency and perfection. If he commits to having something ready for another amputee the next day, he will stay all night to honor his commitment. Alan was born and raised in New England. Despite being born with no legs, he was a very active and vibrant child, playing Little League Baseball and winning back-to-back Best Goalie awards in an organized street hockey league. After graduating high school, he headed west to California and eventually to Hawaii, where he lived for 23 years. While in Hawaii, Alan maintained his active lifestyle, paddleboarding, hiking, and participating in several 100-mile bike rides. Alan worked for 20 years in the audio industry, designing and installing audio-video systems for everything from luxury homes to houses of worship. Alan has recently transitioned to the prosthetic industry and is hoping to benefit others by sharing his 50-plus years of experience as an amputee. He has one of the most positive attitudes of anyone you've ever met. He embodies our philosophy of, it's not what happens to you that matters, it's what you do with it that counts. Amputees, along with their friends and family, travel from around the globe to visit the Legmen and enjoy all that Northern Nevada has to offer. From the excitement of Reno to historic Virginia City, Carson City, and spectacular Lake Tahoe, all 30 minutes or less from the shop.
Oh my God, that's...
We have the greatest jobs in the world. We get to inspire other amputees every day. But every once in a while, an amputee comes along who inspires all of us. This is Jake.
That's awesome.
On our way back, the storm hit faster and sooner than we had anticipated. We got separated. The storm intensified, night was falling, and had to make the decision whether to hunker down for a bit and hopefully find a, shall we say, a hole in the storm to resume trying to get back into camp. Long story short, I was out there for 3 days and 3 nights, and they had launched a rescue operation once the storm had started to abate. And at that point, I was still walking and still functioning. They essentially were looking for a body, and I came walking back in. The nature of the work that I've been doing for the last 17 years, the risk is, yeah, maybe a few fingers, a few toes at most. Like I said, I was still ambulatory. When they were putting me on the little plane to leave camp to get back to where there's one hospital in Greenland, that was my assumption. I told my good friend, don't mess anything up, I'll be back in 2 weeks. So I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I spent 5 or 6 days in the hospital in Greenland. The company I was working for and whatnot finalized the medevac plans to get me back to the States to a burn unit. I always think that's actually very ironic for the fact that I've been out there freezing almost literally to death, and I have to go to a burn unit. Now, frostbite's a thermal wound, which falls in the same category as being burned. So to me, I still crack up about that. I think that's interesting. So I was finally medevac to UC Davis here in California, or over in California, to their burn facility. Went into surgery the next morning, and the idea was to save as much as possible. Again, getting back to the idea of fingers and toes. Woke up, and I'm trying to recall, it's been 3 years now, but my right hand was already gone, and the first portion of all of my toes were gone. Another day or so, another surgery. I had, I think, a total of at least 7 times going in and being amputated. It got to the point there was nothing left but of my feet except for just my heel, which was still badly frostbit, but they couldn't amputate that point. And for my shin bone, pretty much straight down, had already lost all of that portion of my feet. So we sat back and waited a few weeks, and the doctors finally came and advised me that under the circumstances, you're probably going to lose the rest of your feet. We advise you to go ahead and amputate below the knee. You've got plenty of good tissue there. There was nothing wrong with any of the other parts of my legs. The reason being is we can get you up and in prosthetics and back on a more normal lifestyle than we would be if we just sat around. We'd have to wait for months. Yeah, in fact, I think this is kind of funny too. I kept telling them, well, you've got 3 months to fix me up because my next contract's actually at the South Pole. I got to get back to work. Now, to be honest, I was probably a little bit delirious and whatnot from everything that's been going on, a bit of shock. But my way of dealing with it was, this is what I do, this is what I love to do, it's my passion. I'm going to get back into it one way or another.
Anthony listened to what Jake thought he might need if he got cleared to return to the South Pole next season. Jake could describe what scenarios he thought he would face, and Anthony could devise a way to make it functional. Where else can you find service from someone who has truly walked in your shoes? Jake is currently back on a job, but this time he's down in New Zealand, the land of adventure, a perfect place for Jake.
Here you go, Bailey.
And now it's time to meet Bailey. Amputees come in all shapes and sizes, but children, and especially infants, provide unique challenges as their residual limbs are very small, yet continue to grow and develop until early adulthood. It takes a very skilled and experienced prosthetist to achieve an optimal fit that is both comfortable and secure.
I want to make sure that it's Loctited in. Yeah, see, I've only got that much room. See, that's not enough. Look, it matches your mom's pants, sort of, kind of. Look at that. You can stand up.
Hey, Bailey, I want to try that. Come here.
Come on, walk to me.
Look. Look your leg. Oh my goodness, a big girl. Yay!
I'm a congenital amputee. I've been an amputee since birth, so that's something I could relate to right away with her. She's, getting around and nothing seems to slow her down. She's out crawling, jumping around, and I remember that when I was a kid as well. I would just kind of find a way or just, manage to go and, move around. I was not able to get a prosthesis until I was about 7. She's 18, 19 months.
Yep, well, she couldn't stand up. She just was on her knee and her nubby. That's how she got around. And I was discouraged, thinking, when is she gonna walk? And I got on the internet and I found amputee prosthetics in Washoe Valley. And I called them and they made us an appointment. And it's only been 4 months and she's already walking.
The act of learning to walk, if you think about it, is painful. You're gonna fall, you're gonna bump your head, you're gonna skin your knee. It's a painful process, but it is so important to the human brain that we will endure pain, discomfort, and trauma in order to learn this actually very complex and somewhat, for primates, unnatural process of ambulating on 2 legs. And Bailey is no different. She innately seeks to do this because she looks around and all the other human beings she sees walk around on 2 legs. So it becomes a compulsion on her part to seek to achieve this. And for me, watching that naturally occur was just a thing of beauty.
So I would take her to the grocery store because they had small carts. And she could walk pushing the shopping cart. So I asked Rick and Anna at IGA Supermarket if I could purchase one. And they gave her one. And she's been going ever since. She would even come home and want her leg on and push her cart around the house. And then she discovered, well, I can do this without pushing the cart. And away she went.
I think she'll be into sports, and yeah, she'll do really good. She's already is doing really good.
Throw the ball. No, throw the ball. Throw it. Come on.
No. Here, Bailey. Look at Bella.
Whoa, that was awesome! One of the most rewarding experiences for any prosthetist is when a client arrives in a wheelchair and then walks out the front door with their new prosthesis on, ready to take on the world. Deborah called late one Friday afternoon and wanted to talk about life as an amputee. Our company was on her insurance plan and she was considering amputation as an alternative to the medical situation she was living with. She explained that she had been fighting a recurring cancer in her right leg that had relocated her to the couch over the past few years.
Prior to that time, I had been extremely active, hiking, swimming, and my biggest passion is horses. I have several horses of my own at my property, and I pride myself on having raised them and trained them myself. And this disease was really interfering with what I love to do best in my spare time.
She had had enough of this kind of existence and wanted to know what type of life amputation could offer. After listening to several of the staff explain how their daily activities compared to hers, she was convinced that she was ready to proceed down that path. 2 weeks later, she was in the hospital recovering from a bologna amputation. In one of our visits, she was asked how she felt. Great, I don't have that damn infection in my body anymore. I feel awesome. This isn't the typical reaction after amputation surgery, but it shows how amputation can be a new beginning instead of a tragic end.
You're already up. Did you see her walking? No crutches? No
well, look
nothing?
how good she's standing, too. She just has balance. It's amazing.
This is real impressive, Deborah.
Oh my gosh.
Horse maintenance requires a lot of hands-on work. Feeding, exercising, and grooming her animals is a rigorous job and demands that she be comfortable and agile on her prostheses. We custom aligned her prostheses on a saddle in our lab to achieve control over the signals the horse receives from her heels. Deborah was able to move from her couch back to the barn and mountains where she preferred to spend her time. 1 year post-amputation, Deborah went for a 5-mile hike, nearly to the top of Mount Rose, our local 10,000-foot mountain. The next day, she competed in a 100-mile trail ride.
I can honestly say that if I look at my life before I even had the cancer in my leg and look at my life now, I'm pretty much back to about probably 90 to 95% of the way I was before all of this took place.
She is back on track to live her life doing the things she enjoys the most. We are honored to have the opportunity to assist her with her prosthetic needs for the rest of her life. We are always astounded at the courage and determination that lies within people. Lynn is a very special person. For most of us, Lynn's life would be a living hell. Having recently retired, she had been enjoying the country life in Kentucky. She described herself as a gym rat and was rarely ill. Shortly after feeling like she had the flu, she awoke from a coma to find all of her limbs had been amputated. Lynn contacted us through our website, and we quickly developed a relationship over the phone. She was frustrated with her inability to return to a more active life and wondered if there was more that she could do. Lynn had lost both arms below the elbow and both legs below the knee when she developed a toxic shock reaction. With the help of her devoted husband, Bill, she found the inner strength to recover. I don't feel unfortunate that I lost my limbs. I just feel lucky that I'm alive, is Lynn's point of view. Rick visited Lynn's home in Kentucky to see what type of environment she had to contend with. Her front walkway was very steep with no handrails, nearly impossible for her to negotiate. She had steep stairways and no bath accommodations. She had received prosthetic services from someone who lived in her very own town, but had never taken the time to visit. One of her most important issues was donning and doffing her limbs. She couldn't put her limbs on by herself. We created a custom donning station that allows her to put her prosthesis on by herself. The station pre-positions her prostheses so that she can sit up in bed and put on her legs. All of her prosthetic devices are kept together for easy access. The finished station was handcrafted from hickory to create a beautiful piece of furniture. She has tried basketball and handball but prefers to swim on a routine basis. We created aqua prostheses for her that make getting in and out of the pool possible. She uses them for swimming as well as showering. We were privileged to get to fit Lynn with the new Biome-powered ankle. This very expensive prosthetic foot device creates a forward propulsion that feels like your anatomical leg. When Lynn wore those for the first time, her reaction was priceless.
Funding. Yeah, funding. Okay. Yes. Not like before. Yeah, not like before. Wow. Oh, I felt that. Okay. Now this is the scary part. This is where they taught me to walk down sideways. So go forward though,
Yep.
right?
You can.
You got me, Rick?
I got you, girl.
Lynn has come full circle, from lying in a hospital bed, wondering if this will be her last days, to helping others who have suffered similar crises. Here she talks to Pat, who has also lost all 4 limbs. Her inspiration will help Pat face the trials of tomorrow with hope and determination.
She had a dream that my nurse was like president of a biker gang, and it was pretty bad. She was like roughing me up and stuff, and I was like, I don't trust that nurse.
That's something I definitely want to get back into doing, is exploring the desert, because it's a very spiritual place out there. It's just, you know, solitude and everything's just so alive, and it just brings you at peace. You know, so I'm really excited to have that taste of freedom again. You know.
The Legmen have the greatest jobs in the world. They get to empower amputees every day. And I should know. I've been a friend and client for over 20 years.